Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Let's discuss these current energies. Let's update on what's going on and how we're navigating just after this massive eclipse. How are you guys doing? um, I I did a card reading I believe it was posted last week, and I recorded it on the day that this eclipse portal began, which was the new moon lunar eclipse in Libra. And what I wanted to find out was what our collective higher self had to say about what we can expect or what is available for us through this eclipse portal. And what it was, I suppose it's not too shocking that it was a stark contrast between the first cards that were pulled and then the clarifying cards. So the first cards that were pulled were in regards to not being able to hear messages that were coming in from our higher self or our guides, about being way too protective about our current reality. And that was essentially of creating a block or a limitation of what was possible for us. So we were literally going from this like limiting mindset, an overly protective mindset, to then the clarifying cards being total abundance and total prosperity in the things that are important to each of us. Okay, so what prosperity looks like for me may be different for you. The things that you want to pull in and experience in your reality, new things that you'd like to have in your reality or essentially manifest, may be different than what somebody else is watching would like to see and consider that to be a new prosperous activity in their life. So what we were seeing there is that we were going from like overprotective, like I said, constricted and sort of blocking energy, to like full manifestations, being able to fully express and fully have expressed through us the things that we have been desiring. Okay, so that gave me quite a bit of opportunity to ponder and meditate on and consider. And what ended up happening was I began reviewing material about quantum physics and about how we relate to the whole of everything. And I came across this interview with Bruce Lipton, and he was discussing the subconscious. And I just enjoy hearing, these conversations about how we operate as human beings and how our reality is created. And that reality is created through our expectations. And what we believe is our subconscious isn't actually subconscious. It's not inaccessible to us. It's what is our familiar expectation. And our familiar expectation is integrated so deeply that it creates a physical reality for us. Okay, so all of our reality is created out of our expectation of life. Okay, and the way that we respond, the way that we react, the way that we, even expect the floor to be there when we stand up out of bed. We expect our life to look a very specific or certain way. And yet we want something different. We want to manifest something different. So this is where that subconscious really becomes in at the forefront, or necessary to be at the forefront. So there's these subtle conversations that we're having with ourselves. And I'll give you a really clear example of how I experienced this for myself through this eclipse portal. And I was watching the Bruce Lipton, he's talking about the subconscious, and literally mid-interview, I felt compelled to pause the interview that I was watching on my phone and to look up something that was in line with what I would like to manifest in my life. And so I'm looking online, and I am about to make a decision within this research that I was doing. And that moment that I went to make this decision, I was able to witness even more clearly than ever before this energetic exchange or conversation that was happening within me. And I checked in with a portion of me that was essentially asking if I could or should move forward with this. And the response was an immediate no. There was this taskmaster, there was this authority figure within myself that was limiting me from moving forward with something that I wanted, but there was some sort of a justification or reasoning, rather, a reasoning that this taskmaster or this authority within me had for not pursuing, okay, not moving forward in this. And so I literally was like, and then even further, I watched another part of me agree with, you know what, you're right. You know what, you're absolutely right. It's not, we're not going to move forward with this. We can't move forward with this. This isn't, something that we can have or do, right? We, me. But if we're talking about all of these different aspects, these multidimensional aspects of ourselves, it can feel like this, this conversation between different parts of ourselves, right? So I'm going, okay, so I agreed. You know what? You're right. And then because I was able to witness it, I recognized this ability to say, who am I talking to? What is this exchange that is happening inside of me that ultimately was extremely familiar? It was so familiar that I don't even notice it's happening. And yet I'm playing this out energetically, this conversation out all of the time when I'm making decisions and moving forward with something that I don't believe I can have or do. And we're all doing this. And this is what we call the subconscious. Now, what we want to do is go, okay, now that I see you, piss off, get out of here, right? You don't have any business here. But we can't. The truth is, we cannot go into conflict with our subconscious because it is so integrated, it will push back and it will essentially, it will backfire on you. Okay. So what do we do then? If we recognize there's a part of us that has a belief so integrated within ourselves that we're not able to move forward with something that we actually desire, okay, then what do we do? And the answer is being able to take that step back, essentially witness that conversation or that energetic exchange that's happening within our own body, and be very aware when it's taking place, but also recognizing that there is more than just this human perception going on. And you would even say that that subconscious part of you could be part of that Chiron wound that we're all working with that Aries energy or excuse me, Chiron being in Aries, the solar eclipse in Aries, North Node in Aries, solar eclipse at 19 degrees, Chiron at 19 degrees. So really what we could be talking about is like this wound that we sort of came in that was built into our natal chart or built into how we perceive reality. It's something to overcome. Now, if you're looking at things from the way that spirit does, okay, spirit says, okay, when you believe that you can't have something, or when you are experiencing the opposite of what you actually desire, what happens is your higher self at the same magnitude is able to produce that very thing. Okay. So if you continue to have this energetic exchange within yourself without being aware of it, you will always continue to have the lack of that thing or continue to perpetuate that wound within yourself. I don't have love. I don't have money. I don't have health. I don't have a stable environment. I don't have children. I don't have all of the different things that we would like to have, that many of us would like to experience differently than we are now. Our manifestations that we're trying so hard to bring into our reality. As long as we keep believing that that is the case, then that's what will continue happening. But remember, your higher self, the way that spirit operates, the way that your higher self operates is while you're having a negative or challenging experience, your higher self is gathering together in extremely precise detail, exact magnitude of what you don't have in the opposite, meaning your higher self has it prepared for you and it exists in a vibrational reality. Okay. So this is what we've all been trying to do: raise our vibration, raise our vibration, raise our vibration, so that we can have the thing, right? Well, we also have to consider that as we're working with our higher self, many of us have also been using our higher self as if it's the new authority in our life, because we have been institutionalized, because we have believed that there has been something outside of us that has the answers that we don't have, and we need to measure up. We need to learn the lesson so that we can get it together, or we can have, or we can meet that expectation so then we can have this. And that is not the way the higher self operates. Okay, so understanding, if we want to master how to change the programming, this underpinning or subconscious programming, that's what's creating our reality, we need to understand, or it's very helpful to understand, that your higher self is not the new boss of you as you're moving through this awakened experience of life. Okay, this co-creation, this creating my reality. Our higher self is not the boss and is not the authority of our life. Our higher self is exactly what I'd said, this co-creator. Okay, so while you're having a negative experience, your higher self is having the pure positive exact magnitude experience. Okay, and is able to then bring that into your life as you have your vibration rise to the same level that your higher self is. So another piece to this is recognizing that when I allow myself to stop paying attention to what's currently existing in my physical life right now, and I can bring myself to a place of happiness, regardless of circumstance, then I have access to the information that my higher self has available, meaning a daydream, meaning an idea, meaning a sense of fulfillment when I think about this thing that I would like to have. Okay, so when you're feeling a sense of fulfillment, you are now in the same harmonic resonance of your higher self. And you are meant to reside in that harmonic resonance with your higher self, having been given that new information, that daydream, that idea, that imaginary space, not to force it to happen through your mind. This 3D physical reality is where thoughts become things, but it is not about you projecting it into your existence, because you keep trying to project it into your existence. You're going to get frustrated. You're working against that subconscious or that energetic belief that's integrated into your body. Okay, integrated into your field within this 3D reality. So what the way that we are meant to manifest is by noticing how it feels when we get that information, because all of this is about a feeling game. If you want to consider where you reside, who am I? Who am I? I'm not the program version of me. And yes, I am spirit, but now the spirit is having a physical experience. A portion of my spirit is having a physical experience. So where am I? I am where those two meet. That would be the 3D authentic version of ourself. It is also the exact place where emotions are where emotions occur. Okay, that is the same to say as the way that your higher self is communicating with you produces an emotion. When you believe it, you are in harmonic resonance, right? And you're in the same vibrational space as your higher self. You have an emotional response that is an uplifting response. Okay, when you start to not believe it, you start feeling uncomfortable or even frustrated. And if you're trying to project this idea with your mind into reality, you're going to get frustrated. The way to go about it is to recognize the feeling space that occurs when you receive that thought or idea. And when you remain there, okay, for an extended period of time, it's through that feeling that these things can happen. Okay, that this life force energy. So it's a matter of being able to have a consistent emotional state of being with your high, that is the same as your higher self, that will allow the things that your higher self has informed you of through ideas and imagination can now come through your reality. Again, you're not doing it to make it happen. The reason that you want it to happen is because you want to feel this way. Say that you want to feel stable. Say that you want to feel love. Say that you want to feel an expansion in your finances. Any of those things that you would like to experience in your physical reality comes with a feeling, okay? I know I keep repeating myself here, but it's a matter of being able to get this feeling. And when you agree with the feeling that you receive on a consistent basis, meaning you're not thinking against it, you're not worried about it, you're not concerned about it. Now, this new thing can become so integrated on an imaginary level inside of your body that the universe has to, by law, by basic laws of physics, because it is a vibrational attraction-based universe. Everything is spinning in this universe, meaning everything has a magnetic field to it, okay? So by laws of the universe, if you consistently feel the same as your higher self on those subjects that are important to you, and you decide that this is my new truth, consistently over and over and over, it will then override that subconscious. The reason that this subconscious exists is because you have at some level believed this and then had life to affirm it, what your belief, which just supports that belief. So what we need to do is create a new belief. You can't push up against that old belief. You can't boss your subconscious around. You can only override that program by communicating with your higher self through emotions, okay? And those emotions, obviously, when you're connected to that higher self, feel better. So feeling better, and you go, okay, now I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to be prosperous in whatever that is for you. I know now what that feels like because an emotion was produced when I got that information from my higher self, that idea, that thought, that, daydream or fantasy. Okay. So I now know what it feels like. And the more I can go that direction and say, okay, I choose to feel this way. I choose to feel this way, and not make it about the manifestation, but it's simply about the feeling. Because again, the reason you want the manifestation is so that your life can feel this way. So if you just let your life feel this way, that's now what you're going to begin to experience in your physical reality. But you don't need your physical reality to show up that way because you already feel this way. And if you continue feeling this way, it overrides that subconscious. It becomes your new truth, your new belief. And now that's what is creating your physical reality. Okay. So this sounds like a really long process, but the only reason why it's long is because we continue to look at our physical reality as if we don't have a reason within the current circumstances of our life to justify feeling this feeling of something that hasn't happened yet. Which means that we just keep defaulting back to that same old programming, defaulting back to what our reality currently looks like. And I want to explain something really quickly here, is that there are 3 dimensions that have to do with creation. Okay, that is the 3rd dimension, our 3D physical reality. That is the 6th dimension where your higher self resides, and the 9th dimension, 3, 6, 9. You may recognize them from Tesla's work, right? So 3, 6, 9 are the energetic dimensions of creation. You in this physical 3D reality, your higher self in the 6th dimensional, a non-physical reality, the 9th dimension, which is the source of everything. So now how this works is you have an experience here in this physical reality. Maybe this experience is something that you rather not have. Your higher self takes note of that. Your higher self reaches into, because it's connected to the source. This is your source connection. Your higher self is your source connection. Okay. So your higher self then taps into that 9th dimensional energy source of everything, puts together the frequency, the essentially geometric patterns in, again, very keen, very specific details in equal magnitude of what you didn't want prepares all of that for you, okay, and holds it in this 6-dimensional reality. And when you open up your body, open up your mind, and you relax into being able to receive information, this is why meditation is so important. This is why having those moments of just happiness and laughter with friends, maybe cozying up with a blanket and watching a great movie, those moments when you're just feeling like everything is good, those moments are what allows your higher self to be able to have a conversation with you through those ideas and inspirations. Okay. So we want to be as calm. We want to be as relaxed. We want to be as stress-free as possible. Okay. So that we're not working against our higher self. So when we are able to do that, we get that information, we see how it feels, and we choose, now I know how this feels. This is now my reality. And if you can say, this is now my new reality, this is now my reality, and that continues to happen for an extended period of time, you can now say, why would I even react to something that doesn't feel like this, that doesn't look like it does in my mind's eye? Why would I react to something that is an old reality? Okay. So if it's 9th dimension to 6th dimension to 3D dimension where thoughts become things, this physical reality is where all of this energy is focused upon. Okay. This physical reality is the last stop before before something becomes just pure energy again. Right. So it's this cycle. Okay. So if you're looking at what's a physical reality, you're already behind the ball of where your higher self is, because your higher self is continually preparing for you the next great thing, the next great thing, the next great thing. All right. So if you're stressed about how I'm going to do this, if you're worried about how I'm going to make something happen, you're not keeping up with how your higher self feels, as in it's already done. Can you simply feel it until it now happens? Okay. But again, I repeat, it is not about trying to make it happen. It is about allowing yourself to feel that this new reality that you've been able to perceive inside of your body, inside of your mind, is your new reality. Okay. This is it. Now you're co-creating with higher self. And this current reality that you're experiencing becomes now it's old news. There's another caveat to that. You can't work against your current reality either. You can never push against. You seeing a theme here. You can't push against your subconscious, and you can't push against your current reality as if it's not enough. You have to be, because remember, I said you have to feel comfortable, you have to feel cozy, you have to feel happy, you have to feel laughter. You've got to feel these things about your current reality, even though you know that you would like something to change. By simply saying, I created this, my belief created this, can give you a sense of the power that you actually have, and put you in a position of being able to accept where you currently are, so that you can do this dance, graceful dance with co-creating with spirit and keeping up with your higher self. So again, let's just talk for a moment about being stressed out about what you would like to bring in. So let's say that you had an idea to create something, okay? And now you're burdened with, like, okay, the materials and molding it into place, and all of the people that need to come in, and navigating those logistics and whatever the thing is that we're working to create. But what happens is we tend to get bogged down in those details and get stressed about trying to make something happen, instead of enjoying how source energy, your higher self, is going to help you step by step create that. Now, this again is where we can get a little bit confused, thinking that our higher self is now the authority in our life. That's not true. Because in order for your higher self to have received or gathered information on your behalf for the improved experience of your life, you have had to have had an experience to produce that information or that gathering of your higher self. It's hand in hand. So you have to have experiences in your physical 3D reality that gives information to your higher self for an improved version, who gathers that information from the 9th dimension. And you being okay with where you are, not overwhelming yourself with details, feeling as stress-free and resistance-free in your life, receives continual information, continual, let's say, fresh life force energy that allows you to feel the uplifted new version of your life, new version of this thing that you're wanting to create for yourself. And now it begins to happen through your body, but it's a very uplifting experience and is not bogged down, stressful, or burdensome. Your higher self and all of the non-physical intelligent beings that are around us are doing the heavy lifting for us. And our job is to recognize something that we would appreciate a better experience in, and then feel into that and feel as good as possible, feel as good as that idea did. And then we're continue to get fresh life force energy on that subject. And if you're having a difficult time with that subject, pull back. And you may be trying to force things a little bit sooner than is actually ready to come through you, because all pieces have to be in place, right? So if you're starting to get overwhelmed or you're starting to get stressed, pull back and remember the vision that you had of what that feels like or what that looks like. And that will give you the ability to relax into the knowing that this is already a reality and it's in the mix of happening for you. And you get to enjoy the entire journey. We were always meant to enjoy the journey of life. The thing is that we have believed that life is difficult, life is hard, and we haven't known the mechanics between how to co-create with our divine spirit. And when I say divine, what I mean is it's unwavering in the truth that it knows. It's undivided in the truth of the realness of what it has gathered for you from the ninth dimension. So that's what divine means. It's undivided. It gives its pure, undivided, pure knowingness, absoluteness, complete certainty. And this is a reality that you are able to experience. And you want to experience it emotionally first, okay? And continue with the emotions of the expansion of who you are. That's how life becomes blissful, is keeping up with the expansion of who you are. So let's bring this back down to a little bit more practical terms. There's something that you want to create, an idea that you had, and you want to bring this into your physical reality. You're getting ideas on the next step, the next step, the next step. Okay? You want to continue to let those ideas flow through you and not become overwhelmed with the stress of making it happen now. And this is the joy of the journey, right? It's called the joy of the journey. But what happens when we experience the joy of the journey is things begin to unfold even better than we had imagined from our 3D experience, from our 3D perspective. Things that we hadn't anticipated, new, fresh twists and turns and delights begin to culminate and add to those goals that we set for ourselves. And it may turn out different than what you had expected when you began a particular journey on creating something. But you can go back and you can remember what that felt like. And as long as you can go back and remember what it feels like consistently and over and over and over again, and this is this new and emotional stance, we'll call it that, this new emotional stance within your body that offers support to that imagination that you have, that idea, that goal. Okay. Now more things that you have wanted begin to gather into that. More things that your higher self knows available to be a part of that come in, and it becomes bigger and better than you had expected. Bigger and better than you had expected. And if I'm sitting here trying to make this thing happen, I may be limiting myself to the fullness of what's available to me by simply stressing about making it happen. Continue being open, and by meditating, softening your mind, opening yourself up to comfortable, delightful, laughter-filled experiences, to continue letting more of that life force energy move through you, more through you, and enjoy all of it. So we're beginning to reprogram our subconscious. This is what's happening because so many people are talking about this new world that is available for us, this new life, this new timeline that is available for us. Okay. That's how you bring it in. We can often, when we're looking at these, the reports, the energetic reports, the astrological reports about what's happening, we can find ourselves very often in a position of having these future dates, and you can get future date frustrated. Okay, future date burnt out, because you're like, okay, well, when the sun goes into this, when this eclipse happens, when these planets align, that's when I'm going to have my breakthrough. That's when this is all going to come in. That's when I'm going to have my breakthrough. But if you can understand that while those energies coming together and culminating are supportive of the next thing for you and the next thing to experience, and they're producing things in your life and experiences around us, it is up to you to feel your way into what your higher self has offered, again, through that imagination in an emotional way now. Because if you're putting it out here, if you're putting your happiness, if you're putting your manifestation, if you're putting your breakthrough out here at a future date, it will always remain at a future date. Always. So I must feel the new reality, the new timeline now, in order for that to happen, and be my experience, at least emotionally, now. We will be able to experience so much more, so much faster, so much diversely, right? More variety, more wonderful things in our life, if we can simply get that one thing. If I can feel as good as my higher self does now on this subject, this becomes my new reality. Okay. And I can have it in this moment without ever having to be patient, because I'm not looking that it's not there. When I look that it's not there, well, what am I really believing? I'm believing that subconscious part of me, and I continue to produce that. Why am I going to continue to react to that? Why am I going to continue to react to a lack of something when I know that I'm a vibrational being, meaning I am an emotional being, meaning I am a being of light, meaning I have access to infinite intelligence and the source of all of everything that exists, infinite resources? Why would I react to something I don't have for any moment longer than recognizing, oh, that means my higher self already does have it, and I'm going to feel this great? Manifestations are happening faster and faster and faster these days. Energy is moving quicker. But you're not going to experience it any differently until you can emotionally feel what your higher self feels. Because even if things come on, say that you want a new partner, or a partner, a love in your life, okay? Well, when you end up meeting someone, when you have been in the sense of lack, first of all, it takes a really long time for that person to come in. When they do, they're going to match you more there, and it's going to be a really difficult relationship in a pretty fast period of time, okay? Because you have been residing in a sense of emotional state of lack or disappointment. And then, I wonder why our relationships don't work out, or they didn't bring as much happiness as we thought, because it was never about the relationship itself. It was about how you feel with the idea of the relationship. And when you can continue, even in the relationship, perpetuating how good it felt to receive the idea, the knowledge that I wanted this relationship. And I never look at my partner as if it's their job to make me feel the way that I prefer to feel. It's my job to remember how good it feels to have this in my life. And when we can make it about that emotional journey, that positive emotional journey, the partner that we would then attract will be much more positive disposition as well, because you're attracting that same vibration that you're in. So they're going to have a much more positive disposition, which means they're going to be much more fun to be around. But you're not relying on them for fun and happiness because you yourself are already fun and happy. And that relationship has much more sustainability within it because you're both doing what you prefer, which is enjoying life. My guides have said over and over and over again that we are now having the opportunity to experience ourselves, because this is now Aquarian energy that we're in, to experience ourselves through our dreams becoming our reality. You have to remember, where you energetically or emotionally feel consistently, it's still what that dream, when it comes in, is going to feel like. It is. It will. And maybe it'll bring some delight for a moment, but you'll go back to where you've been trending. You'll go back to the way that you've been feeling for a long period of time, which is why it's important to us to recognize that feeling good for a consistent period of time until that's now our new emotional state of being is how we experience the wide range of that lasting relationship that's really good or really happy. Okay. So another thing that has been coming in is maybe some repeat. So we have both Saturn and Mars in Pisces energy. Okay. So both of those planets are about getting in there and doing something. Okay. So that dovetails really well with reprogramming our subconscious. Okay. So both of those planets are very rewarding when you get in and do something, but because they're in Pisces, it can bring about this feeling of wanting to have or engaging in what would be escapist behaviors. Now, those escapist behaviors are can most likely be connected to whatever you were overcoming in the last eclipse that was in the last total solar eclipse in August of 2017. You may be experiencing some repeat of old behaviors from that. And what that comes down to is this thread of disappointment. So that thread or program of disappointment, what that tells us is that it's ready to leave. It's ready to leave our bodies. Okay. So if you can recognize that you may be engaging in patterns that are not serving you, that you thought that you had overcome, what's happening is you are repeating actually this thread of familiarity, even a subconscious thread of familiarity of disappointment. So when you can look at it from, oh, I'm just setting myself up for disappointment because I'm used to a certain level of disappointment, that will free you from repeating those actual behaviors and will help you engage in what the Mars and Saturn energies are encouraging you to go deeper into, take action deeper into. Okay. Whatever that looks like for you, with the things that you're wanting to engage in, it's asking us to become more authentic and have a belief of, like our higher self, of absolute confidence. That also comes with this Aries energy, right? Confidence in who we are and our ability to co-create with our spirit. Again, that connection between you that is looking past or beyond or not playing into the program of disappointment, specifically in this case, in any case, but specifically for this conversation, disappointment. And the part where your higher self is already got things prepared for you. Remember, this is the authentic you in this time, physical time, space reality. So we're being asked to get to that part of ourselves where I'm not going to play into disappointment, where I'm going to allow my higher self to influence the positive ability to move forward with something that we have maybe thought is a little bit bigger than what we had expected we'd be able to do. Okay. And it gives you this sort of can do, everything is possible attitude. That's what we're being asked to now, again, make our truth so that we can experience the fullness of a new timeline available for us and experience ourselves in a much higher and I don't want to say better version, but it feels better, because if I say better version, that means that the old version, there was something wrong with it, and there was nothing wrong with it. That served you for a period of time, and it served you to know what you want next, gave that information to your higher self. So it's the new, expanded, new, capable, new, confident, new way of being and experiencing this world that feels better because it's consistent with your higher self. When we're connected to our higher self, it's always a better feeling, more of a relief, more of a feeling, more of an expansion. Okay. So programs that we are dispelling or letting go of are disappointment, feeling familiar with disappointment in our exterior lives, but more importantly, disappointment with the choices that we're making, or just because those choices are because we're perpetuating that feeling of disappointment. Okay. So if we go look beyond and say, oh, I see that if I do this thing, if I go this route, I will feel disappointment, and recognize what disappointment feels like, and choosing to instead engage with that breath and knowing that your higher self has got your back, and you can feel a sense of confidence and stability in that. Okay. You will be able to authentically move forward with this new call in your life. And one of the greatest benefits is being able to also let go of the program of I have to have something to show for my time. This is this like era of production, external production. We need to produce, 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 produce. Like it's not like my time hasn't been well spent if I can't show other people what I have produced from it. That program is also going, because this new earth, or this new paradigm is all about how you feel is now your point of success. How good I can feel is now my new, let's say, bar. I don't know if is that the right word. Let's say my new definition of success. There we go. That's simply put. My new definition of success is how good I'm able to feel by not playing into what is currently existing that I prefer to not have. And I choose that I'm going to feel good. Now I am successful. And you'll watch that if that becomes your new definition of success, is how great you feel, you'll begin to, of course, enjoy your life a heck of a lot more. But the things that you have wanted to see and experience, those dreams that are coming in, you'll be able to, like I had said before, have a much more full version, much more expanded version, and you'll see yourself moving forward more quickly, but being able to enjoy all of more. Okay. Even something feels like even time to like settle into these creative processes within ourselves, because creating is who we are. That's why creating feels so good. Let's just check in and see if there's anything else that they wanted me to. I've made a few notes here. Oh, and they did talk about, my guides had talked about the sense of neediness. And I think that was pretty much covered in when we're paying attention to our physical life, and that physical, or excuse me, our current life, and looking at what doesn't exist in it, and or lacking. if we're focused on what we're lacking, it creates a sense of yearning and neediness within us. And that sense of neediness is what has also been sort of delaying our happiness and our manifestation. Okay. So I think that neediness goes right along with reacting to a current circumstance, believing that we are buying into this subconscious storyline that hasn't been serving us between we can't have, we're not capable, we're not worthy, and buying into that subconscious narrative leaves us feeling that sense of neediness continually, and that something else outside of us, like a future date or future right planetary alignment, or when something else happens, then I will feel complete and full. But if we're doing what we had talked about, practicing how great our higher self feels and making it about the current feeling of happiness and fullness and satisfaction and completeness, that also, so I guess what's being said here, what's being shared, is the program of disappointment, the program of pushing ourselves to be productive, and the program of neediness are all being able to be removed from our current experience, so that we can be refreshed, renewed, and revitalized and ready to be that capable new version of ourselves, which is the version of ourselves that is experiencing in complete happiness our dreams becoming our reality. I hope that that was helpful for all of you to begin to understand these mechanics, and we'll talk about them a lot more in future videos, because it is something, if when you're working with a new paradigm, when you're working with new programming, it does need to be reviewed consistently over and over and over again as reminders, because we will constantly get lost in our current circumstances and reacting to our current circumstances until we really get this. Okay, so we need to be very gentle with ourselves, be very kind to ourselves, and understand that we are in a bridge of realities. We are in a bridge of a paradigm shift. And that shift is simply relief and happiness. Okay, happiness and joy. Okay, that's what we are intending for our lives to continue to look like on a regular basis, so that we are no longer learning through strife and frustration and pain and suffering. We don't want to learn from that anymore. We want to learn from happiness and love, and our ability to be confident in our creations. And it is 100%. You must acknowledge, you have to acknowledge, in order to be a master manifester, you must master the understanding of what your emotions are. It's the relationship between you and your higher self. Okay. And knowing that mastering how you prefer to feel will give you a manifested life experience. Okay. So I love you all. I hope that you are doing well. If you are purging something, be kind and open and graceful and accept what it is that you're purging. But know that there are three major ones coming out of us right now. And that is disappointment, that is productivity, and that is disappointment, productivity, and neediness, lack. Okay. All right. Take care. And I will see you all next time.